The purpose of this course is to understand and practice the techniques that lead to desensitization and counterconditioning. So far, we've spent time carefully looking at the building blocks of such a program. You've probably got a real-life issue that you want to address with these techniques. By the time you're ready for this lesson, which is implementing your plan, I will assume the following. Number 1, that you've been practicing your own mechanical skills as outlined in earlier lessons and assignments, and you've gotten pretty good at presenting things in the correct sequence. Number 2, that you know that your mechanics are good because you've successfully helped your dog create a positive CER, or conditioned emotional response, to a neutral object. If you pull out the previously neutral object today, your dog will show some signs that he now associates that object with either food or play or relaxation. You'll be able to tell by watching your dog's body language and behavior, and typically he'll look like he might be thinking, "Oh, yay, I love that thing." Number 3, that you've outlined your DS plan and broken the steps down into smaller bites. It doesn't need to be perfect. You can adjust it and tweak it as many times as you need as you progress through it, but at least you've got a starting point and a detailed instruction sheet for yourself. Number 4, that you're ready to start implementing the very first steps in your plan. Fantastic! At each step in your desensitization plan, you'll spend some time helping your dog become less fearful of the scary thing by pairing it with something good. And if you're not there yet, don't worry. Keep working on the previous lessons until you're ready. Skipping steps won't lead to faster results. In fact, it's a bad idea. Remember the butterfly. And because each of you is working on something different, there are no cookie-cutter instructions to get you started. You'll each be doing your own thing, but here are some ideas and guidelines that should get you on your way. The location. Where does the scary thing happen? The fear you're working on may involve a location. For example, your dog might fear being groomed, and grooming always takes place in a particular room in your home. And because of this, he may avoid a certain room in the house or have a hard time relaxing when he's in it. Or your dog fears being examined by the vet, and those exams take place at the vet clinic. Your dog might show discomfort when you arrive at the vet clinic, long before he even sees the vet. Well, you can begin your program by helping your dog form a positive CER, again, that's conditioned emotional response, to the location that's associated with the scary thing. Play tug or find it in the room where you groom, whatever room that may be, or train some fun tricks there. Go to the vet clinic and feed a bunch of spectacular treats out in the parking lot or in the reception area, or ask the staff if you can quickly enter an examination room just for a few moments, just to have your dog sniff around, receive a ton of roasted chicken before you leave and go home. How long should sessions last? You've likely heard before that it's best to keep your training sessions short, and that's usually ideal, and you should definitely aim for many short sessions, 2 to 5 minutes on average, to avoid overwhelming your dog and to keep your sessions light and fun. However, depending on your particular situation, longer sessions might be best. And because we're working on changing how our dogs feel about something, it might sometimes be helpful to work with longer sessions. Just because sessions will last longer, that doesn't mean that you'll be increasing the level of difficulty or exposure during a single session. It just means that you'll be pairing the scary thing to a very good thing for a longer duration. For example, your dog might be working on an interactive food toy during exposure. Now, naturally, this will last longer than 2 to 5 minutes. It also means that you'll be working at a level of exposure that your dog is comfortable with, just teetering on the edge of his threshold, where you'll notice a sense of interest and awareness, but not fear or worry. And you'll keep working at that level until he's very comfortable. And that can mean over a few sessions on a single day, or it might be a matter of days. But please keep in mind that longer sessions won't apply to all of you. The majority of the time, short, frequent sessions are best. But sometimes longer lasting sessions can be helpful as well. If you're unsure, Stick to shorter sessions. That's always safest. So, what might a single session look like? Well, let's say your dog's afraid of riding in the car. Your early steps might involve playing or doing some fun trick training sessions near the car, but far enough so that he's not showing fear. And this is an excellent example of when a session might last longer than the ideal 2 to 5 minutes. If you're out there for 10 to 15 minutes doing other things that involve fun or yummy stuff, your dog will begin to trust being near the car. He'll begin to relax in the vicinity of the car, rather than constantly suspect that you're about to put him inside it. After 10 or 15 minutes, you end the session and you go back inside the house. You will have gradually desensitized him to the presence of the car from that particular distance, and you'll have helped him to create a newer, more positive emotional response to the presence of the car. Instead of thinking, oh no, there's the car, I just know they'll try to put me inside, your dog will begin to trust that just because he's near the car doesn't mean he's going for a ride. And that'll help him relax a bit more. And by playing or eating near the car, he can now feel comfortable a certain distance from the car. Oh, hey, yay, there's the car. I might get to play tug or eat some cheese. Whereas before your training sessions, he couldn't be near the car without feeling anxious. So fantastic, you've made it past step 1 of your plan. How many times do you repeat a session before moving on to the next step in your plan? Well, that depends 100% on your dog's response. Is it possible that your dog is far more relaxed around the scary thing after just 1 session working on a single step in your plan? Sure, it's possible, but don't bank on it. It's best to progress carefully. Be careful not to get excited and rush things. Remember the butterfly. It's more likely that you'll need to repeat a single step over a couple of sessions, and that's okay, and it's preferable to moving ahead too quickly. However, if you see you're not making progress after a couple of sessions at the same level, you might need to re-examine that step. Is it too much for your dog? Is it possible he's over threshold? If that's the case, come back to an easier step and keep working at that level before trying the harder level again. Or you may need to create a new sub-step to fill that hole between the step that's too hard and the one that's become too easy. How many sessions should you do a day? That depends entirely on your own schedule. The key to affecting emotional change is to be consistent. It's a matter of repetition, not speed. If you have time to do 1 or 2 sessions a day, that's great. Otherwise, do what you can. It's okay to skip days, too. Your dog will not likely forget the progress that you've made. Okay, this should help get you started. And if you're still a little unclear where your starting point should be, pick something that you're certain won't make your dog respond fearfully, and start there. That's always a safe bet. Work your way up from there. Gradually, systematically exposing your dog to an aspect of the scary thing, that's the DS part, the exposure part, by pairing it with something fun or yummy or relaxing, that's the CC part.